Welcome into the Beat Sessions, your place for all things music. I'm your host, Mitchell Weary, and with me today is the one and only Eric Mackenzie, my friend. Thank you for joining me. How are things on your end?
Hey, they're great. Thanks for having me.
Of course, man. We got I gotta mute this. There we go. That's my bad. I had the stream up on the other computer to check any type of feed. So it's kind of tradition with the live show to sip on a little bourbon here, and especially I want to give a cheers to you because we were just talking about how your new album, Volume 3, finally just hit all the streaming services. I know you've been waiting in anticipation for that, and it sounds like there was no real time frame for you. It was just like, all right, it happens when it happens.
Yeah, pretty much. It literally just hit like maybe 20 minutes ago.
And people can stream that on iTunes. They can stream that on Spotify, correct?
Whatever their favorite streaming app is. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's on all of them. Great. Well, if you got a little one, I just want to raise a toast to you. Congratulations on releasing this project.
Yeah.
What are you drinking, my friend?
This is simply Gold Peak all natural raspberry tea.
I love that. I thought you were coming at me with the Capri Sun with your message earlier, but that's,
I was going to, yeah. My wife drank it all, so.
That sounds more enjoyable, though. That sounds delicious. Is that
it is?
Is that something you get? Like, do you make that yourself, or is that like from a farmer's market up in Helena? Or
no, it was half off at Safeway, so
even better, even better. Well, hell yeah, my friend. Let's get into this. I want to talk about first. I'm fascinated by where you're at as far as it's a little out of the way. Let's just say it. Let's be honest. I don't see many tours go through your part of the world up there. And as far as the music scene, I definitely just wanted to get into what it's like up there. What some of your local influences were, like who you were playing with growing up, kind of all of these general things. If you just kind of want to give it a rundown on where you started and how you got to this point.
Sure. Well, so like me, most of the people around here start playing in church, really, I think. So I started playing drums in church, and I found a mentor who his name was Anthony, and he took me under his wing, and he was like, "Oh, I'm not going to teach you. I'm just going to sit and listen to you." And so I played in church for about 10 years, and when I got kicked out of the church, I'm like, you know what, guitar and bass is cool too, so I'm going to learn those things. And I was playing in just like bar bands and stuff. And yeah, and then like the rest is like pretty much history. But yeah, the scene around here, like the music scene and Helena, it's not non-existent. It's very rare. So everything dies down in the wintertime. So like festivals and by that I mean like charity gigs and events that I used to drum for. And various bands in the past, like a lot of them were like reggae projects and stuff like that. And then that's during tourist season though. So like after tourist season, like everything just kind of goes away. And then that's when all of us have to like, get real jobs and go in. And so,
I mean, I'm fascinated by what you said about your beginnings there, because I feel like in doing research for a lot of artists, it starts in church. I feel like that's more common than not for that to just be a healthy place for up and coming musicians to. I mean, I feel like it's in my head, I feel like it's the one place where it's easy to find a collaborative group of people that are coming together. And you said you got kicked out. I don't know if you're at liberty to go into that, but I also know that I'm somewhat of a disaffected Catholic. I wasn't a part of the band growing up in my church, but I know that, I mean, there's a number of people that I grew up with where that is where they got their start. That's really where they first started playing with people in front of other people.
So I got kicked out. I was told I wasn't Christian enough. And I guess that was pretty much it. I was honestly like pretty bad at my job. Like I wasn't. It wasn't like a paid gig. It was just like something I was volunteering to do. But yeah, I mean, like I wouldn't show up on time, and like that was pretty much it. And then they're like, "You're not walking with the Lord enough." This is my wife's, by the way. She collects knickknacks, and like not like neither of us are Catholic.
Oh, I just noticed him up there.
And then we have a Ouija board on this side just to balance things out, so it's okay.
It's what life is about, my friend.
Yeah,
it's what life is about. Yeah, man. I like not Christian enough. Who's the decider of that? That's funny. I think. I mean, would you say that you found the talent in those people around you to develop your skills further, or was it more just like it was that window of opportunity where you could be more consistent with your playing, and that in return benefited you?
Absolutely. So yeah, it was the consistency. So it was like it was teaching me to like, on Wednesdays, like we're gonna do this, but then I fell in love with it. So like I'd go home and I'd like play Slipknot albums, and I'd like drum along with those, and yeah, I just had like an electric kit at home, and then we'd go to church on like Wednesdays and Sundays, and then I think this was like 10 years ago. So I'm having a hard time like remembering exactly, but like, so I'd like throw like Slipknot riffs like into like drumming at church. So maybe that was like the other part of it a little bit. They're like, "Oh, you're playing the devil's music. That sounds like a blast beat, young man."
Have you seen there's a guy on Instagram. I'm drawing a blank on his name, but he's like, when you like, his whole shtick is like when you ask the metal drummer into the church band, and so he'll play like all these tracks that he'll just like throw down just metal beats to it. But it's pretty entertaining. I do enjoy that.
Yeah.
So where did you ultimately like make that shift? Like, how did you end up kind of like redeveloping your network up there, seeing as how it is kind of small, and it can be difficult to, at that point, I feel like, try to find people who can be consistent. I feel like it's always been my problem, and on my end too. I mean, like we're all busy with work, we all have tight schedules, and to get 4 people together in a room once a week, let alone 2 or 3 times a week, which is what you should at least be doing. I feel like honestly that's the biggest hurdle to overcome.
Yeah. So I moved to Dallas, Texas for a little while. I was going to school for music theory at Dallas Baptist University. Okay. And I was there for 3 months before I didn't get kicked out this time. I left. So I didn't finish my degree. Like I didn't want to become a teacher, and I found it to be pointless. And I'm like, why am I going to a private Christian college and paying like $10,000 a semester or a quarter? No, what was it? Yeah, it was 40,000. It doesn't matter. But anyway, and then so I came back with like kind of a fresh view of like, I can do all these things myself. Like there aren't any rules really. Like John Mayer was right, man. Like the real world doesn't actually exist, and like, yeah. And that was just kind of an eye opener. Like I can just kind of do whatever. What I ended up doing was just getting a part-time job and holding that. I learned how to finally show up on time. From my church days, I'm like, I should get that under control. And then, that was pretty much it. And as far as like finding people around here though, cause there's only like, I think there's like 40,000 people in this town. And then like half of them leave that's an exaggeration, but like half of them leave like during the winter. So I am just playing bass now really. So for like live gigs, I'm doing the bass thing, and then I have a friend who plays guitar. And then with this project, like everyone can like kind of come and go as they please because they all have like full-time jobs, but I bought a drum machine. So if I needed to, like in a pinch, I can always just like show up with like my bass and a drum machine, and then just kind of, do however long they want me to. And then, yeah, so.
Well, I noticed you utilized it a little bit on Volume 3 as well, which I'm all for that. I think, it goes all the way back to Jim Morrison. There's that famous quote with him talking about the movement of music and how it's shifting towards electronica. But I feel like one of the guys for me that, and with like one of the best drummers that's out there, the Smashing Pumpkins, Jimmy Chamberlain. Like I feel like Billy Corgan and his shift to utilizing the drum machine. It's like, what are your thoughts on that? I mean, obviously you enjoy using it, enjoy incorporating it into your sound, but like, is there a line that you feel like needs to be drawn at some point? Or I mean, do you think like in music it can be too much to use that? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like you should switch it up every now and then. So like maybe if you do like 3 songs in a row, like maybe, if I had a friend playing with me, like maybe I'll switch over to like, bongos or whatever, and do vocals while they, are playing keyboard or guitar or something. And I love that, how Smashing Pumpkins started out with a drum machine, because they didn't have, Jimmy Chamberlain like in the beginning, so they're like,
you're right about that.
They're like, oh, like we'll just use the drum machine, and that's kind of the direction, because there's a lack of people around here who want to like do the thing where like we play shows and stuff, because they're like around here they're like $50 to like $200 gigs, and then you have to split that. If you get too many people, it's like you don't have to pay a drum machine, so it's like, why don't you just do that? But yeah, I think Jim Morrison was right. Like he was way ahead of that of his time. I love that quote. That's awesome. Back in the day when I was super like hardcore into drums and stuff like that, I would be like, I'm never using a drum machine. Like that's sacrilege, And then here I am at like 30 years old, and I'm like, yeah, I'm using a drum machine. So, and I don't have to pay it, and I'm actually playing shows and all these things. So, and I get to play music that I write, and it's super cool to be able to present like a more full sound with bits and pieces, and it's not exactly a backing track. I played a show just down in the Gulch the other day, downtown. In Last Chance Gulch. It's a beautiful area. If you haven't seen pictures of it, you should absolutely look it up. And yeah, people loved it. They're like, there's a couple people that like, oh, like this sounds like Pucifer, and like this sounds like like electronica kind of thing. Like I did an All Them Witches tune, and then I did Red Mountain and Eclipsis.
All right.
And yeah, like people really dug Eclipsis, but then there was a technical thing that kind of happened. And yeah, so I ended up having to like kind of stop early. I was opening for a band. It's like the people who work at the music store here, like the only music store in like 100-mile radius. And so it was their band that I was opening for, and then yeah, it was a good time. It was a good day, just like today. It was like blue skies and 80 degrees. So
I'd say it's a little overcast. The sun just popped out now, but it's still been like 102 degrees all day today. It's pretty wild though, the difference like between like when it's sunny and cloudy, like that 102 feels completely different. It's so wild.
Where are you at?
I'm in Tucson, Arizona.
Oh, right on.
Yep.
I love Arizona. The first time I visited there, I got an empty water bottle, and I filled it up with sand because I wanted the ironized dirt, and I thought it was pretty. So, and then I lost it.
You got like a big old collection of tins just on a shelf from all the places you've been.
Yeah.
I dig that, man. No, it's that's really cool. Yeah, that's for those of you watching, mutual friend Keith Grevenitz, who's done a number of album reviews for the channel, is the guy that hooked us up. So I know that it was real easy for me. Like I do feel a little biased because I get a lot of people that hit me up asking to do reviews, but I've known Keith for 20 years. And when he was like, dude, you need to check out this guy, Eric, once he befriended you, and I was like, okay, definitely. And then obviously given your leanings to, you just, mentioned Pucifer and Tool in a Perfect Circle. I mean, I listened to this record, and Maynard definitely sounds like a big influence for you.
He is, yeah. There's been a lot of, I work in a coffee house, and there's been a lot of people, musicians who come into the coffee house actually, and Helena. The last person that we had in town, not at the coffee house, was Chad Smith from Chili Peppers.
Yeah, that's amazing, really.
And then the one before that was the guitarist for Night Ranger. I don't remember his name. He's a wonderful guitarist. I just can't think of his name right now.
I'm drawing a blank on it too.
And then before that, there was Michael Keaton. So I got to make Batman a latte. So,
it's so funny that you mentioned him. I was talking to, so I manage it's at like 3 restaurants, and there's a music venue in the middle. But we were actually talking about Multiplicity the other day, and I hadn't seen that movie in forever. And I don't know if you have, but that movie's absolutely hilarious.
I've not seen that. I need to do my homework.
I definitely would check that out if you haven't. It's pretty funny. You were talking about Brad Gillis, right?
I think that sounds probably right.
I think I'm looking it up right now.
I made him a sandwich, so
Uh,
I didn't get to share my album with him though.
Carrie Kelly is the other one. So those are now that we know, we'll get that out of the way. That was gonna bug me a little bit, but I imagine that. I mean, this time of year, it's God's country up there. It's absolutely gorgeous. So I do imagine there's quite a few people that being that it's kind of hidden and kind of away from what most of them experience in daily life in the big cities that they live in. It's probably just an amazing retreat and a way to find some anonymity, I guess, as well. Because I imagine that most people didn't know who those individuals were when they walked into that shop.
Yeah. Michael Keaton goes, I said, oh, this is my my wife, like she loves your movies. And he goes, oh, but not you. And I was like, and then before I was like, and then like before I could say anything, he just like turns around and walks away. So, but yeah, like Jeff Bridges lives, or I think he has a place in Lincoln, which is just like right up the way. And then I hear rumors of John Mayer living in Bozeman, which is like a couple towns over. So
say hit him up and do a gig sometime. That would be that would be phenomenal to be able to do that.
There was a couple of musicians. It wasn't me. Like I swear to God, that pulled a prank, and they were like, oh, John Mayer is going to do like a free gig in the park, and then when everyone showed up, like it turns out that it was like just these two random like guys with acoustic guitars, and everyone's like, "Where's John Mayer?"
One of them coincidentally is named John Mayer.
Right? Yeah, yeah, and it hit the news, and yeah, that was pretty funny though. So
I want to get back to we were talking about the drumming element, and you mentioned the first two tracks on your new record, Volume 3, Red Mountain Lullaby and Eclipsis. And I love that transition in between those two tracks. So, like, were you able to execute that when you did that live? Is that something that you're finding is pretty easy to do to keep that continuity? Because I feel like that's really a big part of what makes those two tracks so special is the way they just run into each other.
Yeah. So all the tracks, I tried to make them flow into each other. Red Mountain and Eclipsis was special though, because I used a reverse delay. I'm not going to tell you what it is because like I don't know if I say a thing and then like the market price shoots up when mine dies or something, like I don't want that to happen, so I'm not going to tell you what it is. But I was trying to make the bass like breathe, so that's all bass at the very end. And
really, that's sick, dude.
And yeah, and like so most of the soloing and stuff, like most of the things that like sigils, like that's a bass solo. There's like we can get into like the rest of the stuff later. But yeah, I was trying to make it breathe, so that's a reverse delay, and then like that's it, I guess. Yeah. So.
Yeah, no, I mean the riffage as far as your bass work. I mean, I like a guy like Peter Hook from Joy Division and New Order is someone who immediately comes to mind. Like, did you start off playing bass first, or did you start off playing guitar?
Guitar came first. Yeah, I liked finding weird chords and then being like, okay, how the hell am I going to play this on bass? Like, because I only have 4 strings as opposed to 6, and I can't bend my hands like that. So
I want to add to this as well. If you jump on Eric's Bandcamp site, there's a quote that says, "I just like to make a list of weird words and then learn even weirder chords."
That's true. I'll sit there for hours.
In response to no one asking, but now I'm asking. So
most of them sound terrible. The ones that I find, like the ones that were on, so like Red Mountain, all of those chords are super weird to me anyway. Like some of those came from like tracks like Pink Floyd, like Shine On You Crazy Diamond. Okay. Other ones like were screenshots that I'd taken off of Instagram. Other ones were ones that I had just like Googled weird jazz chords, and then I put them all together, and then that became Red Mountain. So
did you set out to build a concept album when you started this thing, or was that just something that like evolved organically? Like you just were putting these compositions together and all of a sudden it was like, hey man, this could feel like just one big suite of music?
I so badly wanted to make a concept album, and the reason why is because I was given some advice one time from, I don't remember who, but just some random person. They were like, if you make cassettes, like people will buy them. If you make portraits, like people will buy them. Like you have to make your art special for like you, because I'm making this for me. Like And someone will tell me like, "Oh, I like this. Like this is neat." I'm like, "Oh, well, I made this. You like it too? That's nice. I love that. Like, that's very neat. That you like it too. But this was my music first. Like, but yeah. So I made a concept album. I didn't want to have everything be chopped up by like streaming. I wanted it to be like a journey. So like you sit down at the very beginning, and then you go all the way to the end. You get to Zenith, and then at the very like last, I think like 10 or 15 seconds of Zenith, it's actually the beginning of Red Mountain Lullaby again. So it loops over and over again, and that was like a really cool concept. That totally isn't an original concept, but I love it, and I wanted to have my own version of it. So,
do you have you gotten to the process of creating any physical copies of the album, or is it just on streaming platforms right now?
At this point, it's just on streaming. I have a guy that can make CD copies for me though, but he needs a master copy, and I don't have a master copy at this point. So, in the future, absolutely. So I'll do like CDs, and I have no idea how to go about vinyl and stuff like that. But I'm excited to learn things, and then like that's it. So.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's necessarily difficult to do. I think it's more of a money question, which is unfortunate. I love that you mentioned cassettes too, because aside from, I think their biggest weakness is degrading over time faster than most mediums. But I love the cassette, and especially for what you're doing, there's nothing better than buying a record, an album, and just being able to listen to it from start to finish. And like I almost felt like the rewind and fast forward buttons on a tape player were unnecessary. I'm like, I don't need this. I just need play, basically. You don't even need the stop button. It's just like hit it, let it play out, flip it over, you're good to go.
Yeah,
that's I mean, I look forward to that, man. The day that you're able to do that, I hope you're able to go back and maybe press volume 3 and do anything in the future with all of your work as far as that, because I think I mean, genuinely, I think that there's a lot going on with the nuance in this record that would just pop on the vinyl format. I think it would really just give it those nice finishing touches that this album deserves. Going back to your style of playing, so it doesn't surprise me that you told me that you learned guitar first and then worked into bass, because I mentioned Peter Hook. Like I love players that play their bass like a guitar almost. I mean, would you say that is your style, like first and foremost, or I mean, what is your approach to developing some of those licks that you created?
Yeah, probably playing it like a guitar. I don't understand when people say like, "Oh, play it like a bass," like it's a different instrument. Like they're right, but like I still use a pick. But then like at the end of Red Mountain, like I'll still like that's when like the drums drop out and everything. Like that's just finger style bass. So like I'll switch back and forth, but it's primarily guitar. So like most of the time I'm like digging with a pick, and but yeah, that's it. So.
I mean, I think for the most part, like I feel like stylistically what you're doing, the pick approach is great. I mean, obviously there's, you think of like anything that's funk. I mean, obviously a pick's probably not going to work for anything that you're doing with a funk sound. And there's a number of sounds where, yeah, I could see where you wouldn't want to use one, but I think that stylistically it suits your music. I like the strength of the notes that hit on this record, and in all of your music actually that I've listened to. It was fun going back and checking out volume 1 and volume 2 as well, getting prepared for this interview and for the review. So
thanks for listening. So yeah, I appreciate it.
No, absolutely, man. Absolutely. So as far as the development of this record, I mean, you said you wanted to, set out and do a concept record. Were Red Mountain Lullaby and Eclipsis, were those a couple of the first tracks that you wrote, or how did this thing eventually come together?
So I mostly wrote everything in order. So Eclipsis and Red Mountain and Sigils were the first. Oh, and then Coercions of a Deadly Winter were the first 4 tracks. So I had half of the album done. By
Sigils is the penultimate track. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's kind of fascinating. That kind of started with the beginning and then like went to the end a little bit.
Yeah. So, but the reason why is because I originally threw that track away. Like I didn't like it after I wrote it. And I was like,
really?
I was like, this, like, I was like, this kind of sucks. Like I wasn't happy with it. And I just like kind of left it on the back burner, and I threw it away, and I was like, And then I was like, oh, I need one more track. And then I was like digging through my trash file to try to find inspiration, like see if I can build off of something. And then I saw Sigils, and I was like, maybe I should listen to that. So I did, and I'm like, why did I throw this away? Like, I like this. I don't remember why I didn't. So yeah, so that landed on slot 7. But then other than that, like, so after those 4 tracks were done, my so I'm using iOS like GarageBand to do this, and there was an update that happened, and it crashed the output. So like every time I would export a track and then try to upload it to the site that, you know, like puts it all out for me and is like here, you know, like they're like, this is not the correct file size, like you need to have the, and I couldn't figure out. So and finally I had to download another app that I'm not going to mention because it's not, it feels weird to mention audio share because you always hear about that as like a oh, you know, like, or this video is not sponsored by audio share, so go buy it anyway. But anyway, so yeah, that was what I used to convert the tracks into an acceptable form. And there was all this like nerdy stuff that had to go on to finally make the album complete. But I used that as like placeholders. So I was like, okay, here's Red Mountain, here's Eclipsis, and then like it feels like there's something in between there and Coercions, and then maybe there's something after that, and then I'll just use Sigils as like a, you know, like, oh, maybe everything else is like kind of a little too laid back and psychedelic, so I'll use Sigils as like kind of an upbeat kind of like almost like a, you know, Pink Floyd-y like kind of Money sort of thing, you know, when they kind of like break out of the psychedelic thing where they're like, whoa, and then they break out and they're like, oh yeah, I forgot we're dancing now. So yeah, that was kind of the checkpoints that I set for myself like along the way. So
well, it's oh, sorry to interrupt you. Go ahead.
Oh no, and then like the Almagest was that came about. I was like, I like these notes, and then that's when I switched from guitar to bass. So like all of the remaining tracks, the other 4 tracks that I didn't mention before, like those last 4 tracks that I had written, were all written on bass. So that was the primary instrument. Like all the solos and everything, like that's all bass. And again, like the pick thing, like I was trying to fool everyone to be like, this is a guitar, so, but then it's not. So,
well, I mean, I love that you mentioned that about Sigils too, because I mean, I said it in the review. It's like it felt like that moment of accessibility, which I think, like when you listen to like a prog style record, which I mean, I think this very much is. You know, I feel like it's important to have those. I feel like there's just those certain times where, like, I don't know what it is about it, but I've always appreciated when I'm listening to something like that an artist kind of steers the ship towards something like a little more grounded in convention, and then just lifts off into something completely different again. I feel like that song in a lot of ways accomplishes that on this record. You mentioned the nerdy stuff as well. I love that you're the do-it-yourself type. I mean, is that an approach that you plan on taking like throughout the rest of your career? I mean, do you have a desire to work with other people on your own work, or do you think that like down the road you'll continue to take this approach to your albums and maybe, you know, work with other people to kind of like scratch that itch?
I am so sick of working by myself, like honestly. I don't ever want to do anything alone like ever again. So volume 1 and 2 were just to see if I can do it. And it's funny because like volume 1 and 2 are in drop A, like there's no bass. So like in Goodbye, I don't know how like in depth you went with volume 1 and 2. Like I think they're good songs, like I like them, but so like there's a bass part that's super heavy on Goodbye, like the first track that I ever put out. That's actually a Strat. That's rolled up to the neck position, and then the tones turned all the way down because I couldn't afford a bass. And then so I just kind of was like, oh, I'll put this Strat in drop A, and then use like the tone from the so, and then that was it. But and then I did volume 2 on a different Strat, which I still have. Like I like getting new instruments like all the time, but like that Strat staying. I have So like this bass is staying. Like I love this thing so much. This is a Ibanez SR600E.
That's a pretty bass, man.
I love it so much. Like it's very rare that I'll go out and like buy an instrument like full price, but this one I played it's cheaper, I guess, like brother. I don't know what anyway, at our local record or music store, that's the only one in like a 100-mile radius, and then I'm like, I'm gonna go buy this online, and they hate me, but that's okay because anyway, but yeah, so then this was like actually the first project that I did where I was like, yeah, like I want to have like acoustic guitar, like Red Mountain in the very beginning, like that was a 12-string Martin acoustic, and then I just EQ'd it so it sounded like a radio kind of. And then that guitar is also in sigils and coercions, and then on the verses of Eclipsis.
All right.
And then yeah, the rest, like the only solo I think that I'm remembering right now is like on the Charvel that I have is on Eclipsis and then coercions. But and that was like a lot of fun to do because I have such like a hard time playing guitar. Like I'm really not a guitarist. Like I just found some notes and was like, okay, these sound good, and like order, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, I was gonna say something else, but I don't remember. So back to you.
No, I absolutely love that, the nerdy stuff as you coined it. It's like I love the resourcefulness. I think oftentimes, no matter, like, it's not even just music. Like I feel like all of us in life find ourselves in positions where we just have to work with what we have.
Yeah, the thing that I love most about music is like the white noise in the background. Like all of the songs that I listen to, like I mentioned Slipknot earlier, so that was a band that kind of turned me on to, like, they have their DJ, right? So in the background they always have like some weird, like just otherworldly, just bizarre noises going on, and I like noises that, or songs that when you listen to it first you get the song, but then when you listen to it a second time you're like, oh, that's new. Was that there the first time? Am I listening to a different track? Like, so I tried to achieve that on Red Mountain by making it super obvious. Like I love the noises, and so that's a space echo doing the ramp function at the beginning of Red Mountain, and I was trying to emulate one of those old like tape echo delays.
It makes total sense now. I love that. Yeah,
but anyway, and that's it, I guess. But yeah, so I never want to work alone again, though. So, and that's what I've been telling all the people that have been coming over to jam. I was like we'll sit down, like we'll, you know, have like a dinner, and then we'll have some drinks and just get to practicing, and like we'll get some work done. But yeah, like it was fun. But yeah, I think the volume sessions are done. Like I think in the future, there'll definitely be some input from other people, because I get sick of my own ideas. Like, this is boring. Like I can't create something that I can't create, you know, like, and I want to hear other people. Like I want to be like, here's a thing. What would you do with it? You know?
I mean, it's great that you mentioned that, because I feel like there's a massive difference, you know, trying to make a career out of this the way that you are. There's a massive difference between finding people that you like to play with, but then actually finding the people that you develop chemistry with, like finding the people that, you know, when the process becomes not about just playing music, but actually about creating it, and, you know, thinking on the same page, but able to constructively bring in other ideas and to kind of just vibe with one another. I mean, do you feel like you've met anybody that kind of fits that profile yet, or are you still on the look for someone?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to say like my guitarist, because that sounds like a Keith Richards and Mick Jagger thing, but like I jam with my friend. I'll shout him out. I don't know if he's watching, but Matt Hopper. Yeah, so he just kind of like, he's like the shreddy kind of guy, you know, so he'll bring over his like headless Strandberg guitar, or, you know, whatever guitar he happens to have with him, and he'll just like put the wheedlies where I like physically cannot. So and like that's always a good time. And then but yeah, so and it gets boring when you go and play shows, and you're just by yourself, and then you're just like trying to entertain the audience like in between songs, and you look over and then you start thinking things like, I should bring like a mannequin here with me to like just prop up against me, you know? So because it's like it starts to feel weird. Like my drum machine's name is R2D2
Oh, nice. All right.
because he's blue and like brushed steel color. So but yeah, so like trying to personify you know, your instruments, and then you know, when you can have people working with you, like make the best of it and like treat them with respect. Like I've met people that like they're virtuosos, like they're wonderful musicians, but like if you don't play this part this exact way, like, you know, I'm a musical genius and you're not, and so like, you know, and then it's like, what is that? Like, wait, that's not chemistry. That's just, you're just being mean.
You're just killing the energy at that point.
Yeah.
It's interesting, you know, like you bringing up the idea of the one man show. I think the dude out there doing it the best right now is Steel Beans. I don't know if you're familiar with that outfit, but I mean, that guy's one of a kind. But I feel like at the end of the day, when you're performing, there's this element of wanting to interact with the audience, and it just seems impossible, like when you're the only person up there and you're responsible for everything that's going on, which could be, you know, programming and playing 4, 5, 6 different things at one time.
Oh, there's so much goes wrong, and then it's all your fault, and then like you can't be like, oh well, this happened, and like there's no one else to like fill in the sound while you're trying to fix the thing. I was looking up a Jerry Cantrell's opener. My wife and I saw him in 2020, 21 maybe. She's wonderful. She bought me tickets for my birthday, and we went to Portland when we were living in Corvallis. I was born and raised here in Helena, but we moved there just for the pandemic, which I still want my 4 years back. Like I feel like that just, I don't know what the heck that was.
Right,
but, dude. Anyway, yeah. So like his opener was wonderful. Like he was a one-man band thing. Like he had, I don't think he had a drum machine, but he had like an acoustic guitar. And I was trying to look up his name, but I don't want to be rude and be like, oh, like I wish we had a Jamie. Be like, Jamie, can you pull that up? Like, you know, can you? So, but yeah, he was great. So if you like later on, I'll be like, I'll text you. I'll be like, oh, this was the guy. So, and I didn't hear the guy that like I haven't heard of the guy that you were talking about earlier.
Oh, dude, check out Steel Beans. Like, okay. I mean, he plays guitar and drums simultaneously. He does all the singing. I mean, the guy it's impressive what he does. But I do feel like to a degree that, you know, he is limited in what he can do. I mean, he's obviously rolling with very much like a garage style of rock and roll. But I mean, the way that like when he goes to like hit his snare, that'll be like the downstroke on a guitar riff. You know, it's like the timing and the technique that he has is pretty remarkable, and I think is the one thing that just like really makes him so exceptional to watch. But again, you know, it's like there's only so much he can do as one person.
Yeah, so that's always a problem. Like, there's no one to be like. So in between songs, you know, I like to tune a lot, or I also like to forget to tune a lot. But in between songs, there's no one to like. You know, I had a freeze pedal at one point just for that, and the freeze was like just there to fill in sound while I was, you know, like, oh, you know, and then trying to remember what tuning I was in, if I was in drop A or just D standard. I like to call it detuned, so because it's always I'm always a little bit out of tune. So
I want to get into your home, where you were born, where you're at now. Talking about I want to talk about a number of things with regards to Helena, Montana, because I do love it up there. I've only spent a short amount of time in my life up there, but I think that, I mean, like, first of all, like, you know, you talk about the scene up there. I feel like it's very similar to Tucson with regards to there's just not a whole lot of money in gigs, which makes it really difficult to make a career out of it, to commit to it full time the way that an artist truly needs to. I mean, what do you find yourself doing? I mean, are you traveling to, you know, the other surrounding towns in Montana? I mean, do you find yourselves like dipping into other states? I mean, like, to what lengths are you going to play live shows, or have you just felt like kind of like stifled at this point?
Right now it's pretty stagnant with just playing shows here in Helena. And then so like in the winter, like religiously, I'll go up and play in Marysville. There's a ski area called Great Divide. And then yeah, just like places kind of around like that. This summer though, I can say this, that there will be a mom and pop shop tour. So in downtown Helena area, I'll hit like all the local stores. And because of how BMI works, like all those mom and pop shops, they don't have the
They don't have
like
the licensing.
right. So like and that's why I wanted to write my own material, because like all of these new venues become available, like even if they're just like $50 shows or whatever, like that's fine. It's fun. Like, so why wouldn't you do it? Like, you know, and as long as you're getting like gas money, like who cares? You know, maybe they'll feed you too. So, but yeah, so just around here, it's yeah. So I'm just playing just around here. In the future, though, like Matt and I were talking about doing, like a 3-day tour. So doing like, you know, we'll go to like Bozeman and like play 3 venues, or like we'll go to Missoula. When we moved to Oregon, my wife and I, that was kind of a culture shock because, you know, we were in Corvallis, which is 45 minutes inland, and then you could drive 20 minutes further inland, and then that's Albany.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh, well, this is a lot different from like having to drive like 2 hours to like until you're in the next town over.
Yep.
And you know, because no one wants to play shows in Avon. Like Avon, that's one of those towns that like you blink and then it's you're like, what was that? I think there was a building.
Yeah, you're playing to like the 4 people that live there.
I don't even know how, like, you know, how do they, these are the things that keep me up at night. How do they live there? How do they do it?
Just be thankful you don't.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I like throw it out there, man. I would love at some point, if you have the ability to do it, which I'm sure you do. If you ever wanted to get a live stream together, you know, we could do that through the beat sessions, I think. And I mean, I think it would be a really cool experience to see you play Volume 3 from start to finish the way that it's meant to be performed. I would absolutely love that if you'd be down for it.
I would love that. So the live version of Volume 3 is with the drum machine, and then with only the bass is a lot different from how the album was. And in the future, there will be like a different version, so that there'll be I guess just like a live thing. There'll be one song off Volume 1, 2 off Volume 2, and then Volume 3 minus Dante's View in its entirety. And then that's like kind of my next project I'm working on, other than just like noise tracks, to like jams, kind of just to kind of extend the playtime of live shows. But yeah, that would be awesome. Like I would totally be down to do that. Also, I did just get a van, so maybe touring in the future will be more of a accessible thing.
Hell yeah, man, that's good to hear.
Yeah, like before that, I was just driving this, like, it was literally half a Mazda. Like the amount of people who have DUIs here is insane. So like that's not. I wish that was a joke. Like that's not even.
I probably shouldn't even be laughing about that.
No. It like it was. I remember my wife and I were living just in a neighborhood, like out of the downtown area. We're living downtown now, or like kind of on up the hill. It's a small town, but it's like. So anyway, we're living over in a neighborhood, and we get a knock on our door at like 3:00 in the morning, and this police officer comes in, and she's like, does somebody here own a Mazda, like a blue Mazda? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, oh well, it was hit, and we found the guy's license plate, and luckily when he hit you, like his license plate fell off, and so that's how they found the guy. But anyway, that was 7 years ago, and like finally got a new car, but and that's just like, that's my own fault, really. Like I choose to do music and prioritize like doing that, because like it makes me happy. And then my yeah, so I guess that's it, but I'm rambling, I'm sorry. So.
No, don't be sorry, man. That's I mean, I think it's a really poignant thing that you just said, because I think there's a lot of people out there who are not willing to make the sacrifice, and who knows what they could have made of their career, you know, had they chosen to just take that route and do what was necessary. And frankly, I applaud you for that. I think in the very near future for you, it's going to start paying off, because Volume 3 is a pretty exceptional project, man. I was really, like, I've enjoyed it 3 times through now, and I'm just looking forward to hit and play on it again from time to time. I mean, you're talking about that white noise. I think that's something that you succeeded with very well in this record, the amount of texture and the layers that are here in these compositions, and the way that I think that revisiting this project will always evince something new every single time, which is what good records do, in my opinion.
Well, thanks for listening to it 3 times.
Oh, so. I mean, it's kind of my due diligence. I mean, I feel like if I'm going to get on the internet and talk about a record, it's only fair that I give it that go over. And, and I feel like some stuff is, it takes time to grow. And actually, I mean, I was talking to Keith and we were talking about the production on the record, and, talking before we started this thing, like now that we know that the Bandcamp is kind of a low quality production, but, that's where, that grungy production, like bands like Melvins and Caius was one that Keith and I were talking about. These bands that take that approach. I mean, I love that. I think the aesthetic of what's going on there suits the style of music and what you're trying to do. And I think that factors like that can be things that, take a few listens to allow grow on you, to let it really sink into what an artist is trying to do.
Yeah, no, beat sessions, like, you have a great channel here, and like, you really do your homework, and as an artist, that really, like, that makes me happy. So thank you. On the Melvins though, I got to see them live too.
That's awesome, man.
And oh my God, they're wonderful. Buzzo, like,
Buzz is sick, dude.
Oh, he's wonderful. There's another band that I absolutely, if I ever got a situation like this, like, I wanted to, like, give a shout out. They opened for Melvins, and then Melvins opened for Boris. Mm-hmm. But the band that opened in general was a wonderful 2-piece from Chicago, and they're called Mr. Flies, spelled Phyllzz.
Okay.
So go check them out if you haven't. I'm giving you some homework now, but
I love it, man. I love it.
And then Boris was loud. Like, Boris, if you haven't heard of them, they're a Japanese band, kind of metal. Like, I like when Adam Jones says like, the word metal, like, kind of makes me want to take a bath. But like, they were wonderful. Like, they were like, my molars were shaking, and I had never had that experience before. Like, it was insanely loud, and I wasn't wearing hearing protection, and I'm already kind of deaf in my left ear anyway, because or not like deaf, but like hard of hearing, because in the church days they'd prop up a monitor on my left side, and then so I could hear it, because it was like a really low quality monitor, so like everything would get muddy, and so they crank it up like all the way, and so but anyway, so, and then after the Melvins show, this was in Bozeman, we had to drive back home to Helena. We were leaving the venue, and there was a cop car, and we're like, oh, like, we don't want to get in the middle of like whatever's going on over here. Like, there's a guy on the ground, there's like police officers like surrounding like this guy. We're just like, we're gonna walk in the other direction. So we did, and we walked past the loading dock, and there's Buzzo wearing like a button up like dark Hawaiian shirt, and we're like, is that Buzzo? Like, how does he change that fast? Like, we just saw him on the, and anyway, so
it's like a pop star with his outfits.
yeah. So he's just like, rips off his my wife and I call it a satanic snuggie, because and so he, like, anyway, so we walked past him, and he was just hanging up a phone call, and I was wearing I don't know why I'm looking down, I'm not wearing it, but I had bought a shirt from their merch booth. Mm-hmm. And he was like, hey, you. He's like, you're well dressed, and I'm like, oh, thanks. And I'm like, a fangirling like super hard. And this was a couple of years ago. This was 2023. Like, I was trying to get like volume. I was trying to figure out how to record music, and like that's what the test of like volume 1 and 2. So really, volume 1 was like kind of for Buzzo in a way.
Oh, nice.
Because I gave him my business card, and I'm like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I'm kind of freaking out. Like, I have horrible anxiety, and he was being such a gentleman about it. Like, and just being a dork. And then I was like, I don't have anything on the internet, but you should like hit me up anyway, you know. And I gave him like my business cards had like my phone number and an email on it, and then he put it in his pocket, and he didn't even crumple it up and throw it away. Like he just so no, he was wonderful, and he was like, I'm sure he gets people doing like a lot weirder stuff. I'm pretty sure he was happy that we weren't like drunk and going up to him and be like, Buzzo, you rock, you know, or whatever. So yeah. I mentioned Volume 1 was kind of for Buzzo because of that. Volume 2 came out on October 2nd because growing up, like listening to Slipknot and stuff like that, that was Jim Root's birthday. And so like that one, so like, but Volume 3 is for me, so like I get to keep that one. So, but that one I was like, yeah, I'm making this for myself. But I didn't think anyone would listen to like Volume 1 or 2. Volume 3, I was like trying to come around, and I was like, yeah, like maybe a couple of people will listen to this one. And so like I'm not gonna like have any like weird, you know, stuff about this, but so
the other thing I want to ask you about with regards to Montana is that there's another funny quote on your Bandcamp that says, and I've been here too, so I love this. You say, sometimes I gaze into the fire too long and my eyeballs begin to feel like raisins.
So fun story. I've been on fire, and always in Montana. Probably, let's see, not yet this year, but I was on fire last year. I think 2 years before that, and it's always at like actual like bonfire. So last year my shoes started sizzling and like shot a flame and like started doing all the fun fireworky sort of things. That's an exaggeration, but yeah, so that's, I don't know why, but that's like a common occurrence. So I'm glad you took the time to notice that, because that quote's based on a very real thing. The first time it happened was probably 6 years ago. We were living in a haunted house downtown, and I didn't believe in ghosts like all that much. Like I did just to be like, you know, but like that place was straight up haunted. Like there was nothing okay about that. And I was holding a lighter and it got too close to my arm, and then my hair like caught on fire, and then it smelled really bad. So,
oh no, dude.
But I mean, like I knew that would happen, but I may have been drinking some bourbon, maybe getting ready for the beat sessions in another 6 years. So
I did the same thing when I was like 17. I think that's how all this started, man. I was out with some friends and we were camping, and like, yeah, we were having a few, because I mean, we were spending the night there, so we weren't going anywhere. And oh my God, man, we were jumping back and forth between the fire. And at some point I realized that like it had singed my hair like all the way up to like here. And my buddy's just like looking at me laughing. He's like, bro, you burnt your hairline. And I was like, oh no. I had to like, oh my goodness. I tried to hide it, and like just, my parents never said anything to me about it, but I could just see the look on my mom's face, and like that smirk that my dad has, or he's just like, yeah, you dumbass, you deserve that. Whatever you were doing, you deserved what you got. just
the disappoint. Well, okay, so the first time that ever happened, that I realized like, oh yeah, like hair is flammable, I had just got my learner's permit, and my car had just broken down, and I was on a date. I was like 16. With a girl who wasn't this. It might be the reason that we're not married today, but I was on a date, and my car broke down, and I was like, oh man. So like I called my grandparents, and my grandpa came over to like take a look at my car. It was a Pontiac Grand Am, and he popped the hood, and I had installed this air filter on it, and for whatever reason, like it started shooting flames out of the air filter, and then when I remember sitting like in the driver's seat, and I see this, and then I look up, and my grandpa's eyebrows, like he looks at me like just disappointed, and his eyebrows are just gone. So that was the first experience with like, I'm like, oh, but I don't know why, it's just it seems like so much fun to like jump over a fire, or you know, like put your feet if you've been like walking up by like the creek or something. And then, you know, like, yeah, then like dry your shoes, like they're wet. Why would they catch on fire? That doesn't make any sense.
Well, I mean, and you you know firsthand, sometimes I feel like it's just cold enough to where you need to get close enough to it, and sometimes you get too close.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we could share some campfire war stories. But I did have a purpose in bringing this up because I feel like, and I think the Coercions of Deadly Winter is a perfect example of the place where you're at shaping the way that you make music. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So Coercions was actually a track that so there's no vocals on it. Like I wanted to put vocal static and chatter like in the background, but I didn't because my grandma who raised me for like the first 5 years of my life, and then she passed in December. So that was a really hard thing to go through, and that happened like right. It's still hard to talk about, but like yeah, she passed in December this last year, and I wanted just some silence, and the silence from Coercions was just a respect thing. So, and that was a really heavy answer for like a really innocent question for that. I'm sorry.
No, it's don't be sorry about that at all. I mean, that's
but yeah,
that's the kind of stuff that makes the music real, man. And I'm really terribly sorry for your loss, man. I was very close to my dad's dad while I was growing up, and losing a great grandparent can be really, really difficult, man. They're the good ones have an amazing influence on your life, and it's yeah, you can't replace them. It's I'm sorry to hear that.
I'm sorry for your loss as well. I mean that so my grandpa passed last year on May 5th, and then my grandma passed. So they didn't like super like each other, and there's that I don't know if it's like a fact or like. Anyway, a spouse will pass 6 months after the other one does, but like they didn't so much like each other, and so my grandma passed like 7 months after, just to kind of break that. And then that was like kind of the sort of morbid joke, just to kind of cope with the all the weirdness, the absence. I didn't know my father growing up, so she was very much her name was Pat Johnson. And she was just a wonderful human being. Like they my grandparents would take me to like Yellowstone and like Glacier, and like we'd watch Bob Ross together. We'd watch hockey. I walked into my grandparents' house one time wearing a Colorado Avalanche hat, and I'd be like, "Oh, check it out! Like I got this new hat." And my grandpa's like, "Cool. What are you talking about?" I'm like, "Oh, you remember? Like we used to watch hockey growing up." And he's like, "Yeah, what team is that?" He's like, "I'm like, it's Avalanche." He's like, "Well, we'd watch the Flames." And I was like, "Well, I was watching Avalanche." So I was rooting for the team that they weren't, apparently. But yeah, she was wonderful. Like I'd sit at the table and draw. Like I'd watch like Winnie the Pooh, and like Tigger was my favorite, and she knew all the answers to Jeopardy, and yeah, they just taught me a lot, and it's a little weird. I wanted to show you something that I have from my grandpa. So
yeah.
So this is the album cover.
That's from Grandpa. All right.
Yeah. So this is not my grandfather. He wasn't a Ram, but he worked for the USGS. And so a lot of people think like that is like an image that I made, but that's a picture that I just put like a ton of filters over.
It's a really cool image, man. I love that it serves as the themes for volumes 1 through 3. It's a heck of an album cover. I failed there. I should have like queued it up and been able to set that up for people. But we're coming to that hour mark, man. It always goes fast. I had a really good time talking with you. Is there anything that you'd like to say or plug before we head out of here?
Listen to the Beat Sessions. Big shout out to them. I'm glad to be a Michelin star musician. And yeah, so that's it. And then yeah, check out volume 3. It's good, I promise you. Like I wouldn't let you down like that. So thanks for Thanks for watching the beat sessions. And I feel like we need Keith here to play his guitar outro, but as like, or the intro as the outro.
Right. So I want to do that, but I think I was telling you last night that I used free software for everything because I don't have the money for the subscriptions to get all the fancy stuff.
Same.
And so it doesn't let you do an intro video with what I have or an outro. So maybe one day in the near future we can make that happen. But I want to thank Eric Mackenzie for dropping into the studio, hanging out, talking about his record Volume 3. You can stream that on Bandcamp. I would recommend hitting another service, though. I think that the quality on Bandcamp just doesn't do this project justice. I'd get on Spotify, get on Apple Music, probably any other streaming service that you prefer would do the record the justice that it deserves, man. Thank you so much for dropping this record and just and doing what you do. I know that it's not easy being a one-man show. It's not easy being an independent musician, and just knowing that you're out there still grinding and that the love is there, man. It's you deserve all the success that you have in the future.
Hey, thank you. Thanks for having me too. I love the beat sessions, so it's fun to be a fanboy on your favorite record review channel. So yeah, there's that.
Hell yeah, man. I appreciate having you. And guys, stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 11 p.m. Eastern, or yes, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I was like, that's a big jump. That's not how time works. 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern Time. I'll be chatting with Daniel Kleederman. He is the former guitarist for Bartees Strange. So we're going to have a new conversation about his new record, Another Life. But in the meantime, stay tuned throughout the week for more album reviews. Thanks for tuning in to the Beat Sessions. We'll see you guys next time.